Hello again, comrades. Welcome back to Jacob's Custom Gunworks. Today we're going to talk about some mounts that I have had the dysfunction and sometimes the displeasure and the frustration of learning what will fit on this gun and what won't. Today we're going to talk about my new mount that I just got today. This is a kpyk mount out of Florida. It's actually kpyk-USA. This is a Ukrainian mount that I picked up. This is an SVD style mount. I kind of did a web search and I was looking for SVD mounts just because I figured that this would move this mount forward further and accomplish my ultimate goal, which is to shorten my length of pull because I'm not a very big individual and I'm kind of having a hell of a time fighting that stock. Now I've got it to where I want it, which is great. But again, back to trying to find the SVD style mounts that are Picatinny or Weaver style is a pain in the ass. So I found these guys, ordered it up. It came super quick. I think I ordered it last Thursday and today's Monday, so I got it today pretty quick. Considering I'm halfway across the country at this point on the western side. So this was pretty good. Built pretty solid, pretty rock solid. I was pretty impressed out of the box. But I had to do something a little backwards, and we'll talk about that here right now. Generally, with an SVD style mount, they write inside a little channel, like you can see here in the Yugo style. And they write in this channel, and they write all the way to about a little stop point right in here where it stops, and you can't push it forward anymore. And it's designed so when you're shooting, the recoil actually stops it so it doesn't slide anymore forward, which is great. I have experienced that on a PSL where I installed it backwards. And actually, instead of sliding it in from, of course, the buttstock towards the barrel, I went from the barrel towards the buttstock. And just so you know, that generally doesn't work. However, I did do that reverse side going from, of course, the barrel to the buttstock with this one, as it actually took up better real estate on the rail itself and seemed to clamp better when I did. So, may as well give it a shot, right? Well, what I was having issues with, I'm going to go ahead and grab this zastava mount here, is while I was out at the range the other day with a buddy of mine, we're out shooting it, and I had this rifle dialed in fairly well beforehand, and I had some issues. This mount would start to move backwards a little bit, which is frustrating because that screws up all sorts of accuracy and you're wasting rounds. So I took it off and adjusted it again for the umpteenth time. And you push down on this little lever here, and of course, you see the plus or minus. Spin that in the direction as desired. Put it back on the gun, and short of physically hammering this back onto the gun, it was pretty tight. So I figured, okay, should be okay. Tightened everything back up. Probably took another 10 rounds while I was done shooting. Looked at it again. It had moved ever so slightly again towards the buttstock, and that's just frustrating. My other problem that I had with this mount, this zastava mount, is flex. Now, granted, ideally, you should be able to mount your scope ring here and here, and that would be your good solid anchor points you're going to have in the strength joints here. And of course, you look at this one, and it's mounted quite a ways forward. So when you go to shoot this gun, I'd have quite a bit of flex. This one has flex, but it's the scope and not so much the mount, which is a lot better than it was. I'm not sure why this didn't work for me, other than the fact it'd be nicer if it went a little further forward, so I had a little better eye relief with, of course, these zastava stocks. So short guys like me and the length of pull could be adjusted a little better, but it is what it is. If you had a red dot or a short scope, you know, where you could put the mounting points in the positions that I mentioned and the strength points here, that might work better, and you may not have the issue that I did. But this did not work for me, which is unfortunate, as this is built for the Yugo pattern rifles. So that went away. While I was getting bored and frustrated, I decided to try some of my other mounts, which most of these are AK mounts. This is a UTG Pro, and funny thing about the zastava mount is also a UTG, as you can see. This is a cheap $40 UTG Pro side rail I probably got, I don't know, 5 years ago for 20, 30 bucks. And this one, out of my collection up until I got that one, worked really well as far as retaining the clamping power and, of course, the flex that I was talking about with the scope. So when I put it on here, clamped everything down, it was pretty rock solid. But, again, my length of pull was ridiculous, and that wasn't going to work. So we tried this one as well, which this is a Monstrum Tactical essentially what this is a Midwest Industries knockoff. And it worked pretty well too. And again, if you put it on your good PowerPoints here and here and here, it worked all right. So I would figure, well, because you've got this nice little support bracket here, it'd be even better. Well, it wasn't as good as, regrettably or surprisingly, the UTG Pro mount. So again, AK style side rails will fit these guns. You just may not have the best eye relief. That's my experience with those. Just so you know, we did talk about scopes last time. Now we get to talk about, of course, mounting, other devices. As I wanted to use this Vortex scope, this is why I went this direction. I don't think I'm going to have any problems with this personally, as my problem was the mount moving rearward, and now I have this little knurl hill that stops on the inside of where the rail mount is, so I don't think I'm going to have that issue. And then you do see that this is flexed here. It does have a little bit of a bow, right? Well, I don't think it's going to have any problem moving forward like we talked about with the PSL, just because of this pinch point here. This has got a good solid pinch point to both sides of the rail, where this one doesn't, so I don't think this is going to move either direction. And for those of you that are wondering, when I loosened these two bolts back up to go ahead and play with this mount a little bit, yes, it did return to its original shape. Over time, that may not happen, but we will find out. So, there you go. Hopefully next time we won't have more tabletop reviews. We'll have actual range time, and we'll go from there. So, super excited, and till next time, comrades.